welcome everyone to SmithFit session number 37. Been a long journey. I just was trying to remember today how we started off with a small group and gradually how the size is increasing. It was a great trip down the memory lane. Something that made me smile after a very long time. Rarely getting chances to smile right now. So first, what we could do is, you know, uh, we want to talk about immunity, of course, because that is a raging topic. Uh, from my point of view, if you ask me, we will be talking more about nutrition, the support therapies for COVID. Now, now it is we cannot actually avoid the situation. There is no contact tracing. We don't know how exactly one is getting infected. The only thing what we can do now is fight it, and fight it fiercely, fight it from all possible sides. If I'm not, I get a little emotional while I was going through the slides, having experienced the horror about 2 weeks back personally, where my 67-year-old mom and my husband both being infected, both having comorbidities, and it was a scary situation. And possibly, what made us, all of us, I mean, me as a caregiver and they as patients, what helped us more was the mental support and the nutritional support that we had. Medication was inevitable, but the whole journey, the emotional roller coaster that happened, and the whole process of recovery. I not because because I'm a nutritionist, but as that time I was just nobody. I was just somebody who was just taking care of a stressful family. Whatever helped me was the kind of mental support that I got from the team as well as from friends, as far as the nutrition was concerned. So that's why fiercely I felt that we need to do this session. We don't want to out and out to, if you want to go and talk to anybody, everybody says corona sodun kai pan bol. But right now I want to talk about it because I want to talk something that is going to help us deal with this situation, because we can't just push it under the carpet saying that मला आता त्याच्याबद्दल बोलायचं नाही, because it might be right outside my threshold knocking for me in this time. So how do we get started with fighting it out? So I think we will first spend some time with Katie, do our routine exercises, and then on I will take over once again. Katie, are you ready?
Yes. And I love that we're getting prepared for this challenge that COVID is throwing our way. So we'll try and work out the same way today.
Kitty, I have had an overdose of exercises this week,
Of me?
I'm not doing anything today, please.
We're just going to stretch open. Now, what we're going to do is start with our legs a little wide. From here, we're just going to reach down and up only 5 times. Super. From here, we're going to turn to the left after we finish touching the floor 5 times. Forward. On the left, we'll just push forward, stretch the hip, come back. Push forward, stretch the hip, come back. 5 times. Finish that. Let's go right. And we're doing the same move. From here, we're just going to bring our knee up to our chest, give it a nice tight hug, and drop it down. Let's pick it up on the other side. Nice tight hug, and drop it down. Simple. Okay, super. From here, we're going to get to the floor now. We're going to sit down. Sitting down, we're going to have our legs a little wide, and we're just going to reach forward, go to the right, And come back. Reach to the right. Go across to the left. And come back. Exhale as you go forward. Inhale as you come back. Let's do 3 from the left and 3 from the right. Okay, now I'm going to slightly challenge you a little bit more with your flexibility. We're going to sit with the legs at 90 degrees. Well, not 90 degrees, but knees bent. Little bit of distance in the feet. Now, if you can do this without using your arms, that will be great. If you need to, you can get some support. We're going to drop the knees to one side, stretch the hip open, come back, drop the hip to the other side, stretch open. If you can do this without using your arms, that's super. But if you need support, there's no problem. You can just use your arms. Stretch here, try and twist, look forward, come back, and keep moving. If this reminds you of a certain iconic actress and a dance move, we won't mention it now. Okay, super. Last bit, what we're going to do now is we're going to lie down, lift the knees up, and just twist from one side to the other. Just going 5 left and 5 right. And okay, and let's come on back. Now for the next bit, we are going to need any odd object lying around you. It could be a pouch, a phone, a water bottle, a pillow, whatever you prefer. This tiny little pouch here. I'm just going to explain to you what we're doing. This movement is called a Turkish get-up. I don't know why it's called a Turkish get-up, probably invented somewhere there in that part of the world. But it involves all sorts of movements plugged into one combination. So instead of doing 5 different movements today, we're just going to do one called the Turkish get-up. And it's super functional. It involves day-to-day movements that you're going to do. It involves just lying down, from there getting to a kneeling position, standing up, getting back to a kneeling position and lying down. Safe and controlled. So the challenge is this object is going to be in your hands and you're going to balance it up there. So you're going to start with your object in your right hand. You can just watch me for now. Other arms on the side here. You'll do a bit of a sideways sit up. And from there, slide this leg behind to get to a kneeling position. The arm is still pressing up. From there, I'm going to stand up, kneel back down, drop my hand down, sit down, and get back to a lying position. Now we'll do this together first. I will talk everybody through this. So a little bit of working the neurons while we work the muscles also, coordinating all different parts of our body. If you'd like to give this a try, let's just lie down. If you'd like to hold something in your hand, you can. If you'd like to just pretend you've got something in your arm, that's also okay. Right? If you've got a yoga brick, that'll be super. Now, we're starting with the right arm and the right leg bent. My left arm is on my side here. From there, using the support of my left arm, I'm going to get onto my elbow first, do a bit of a sit-up. Keep pressing that arm up. Keep pointing it to the roof. From there, come up all the way onto your palm. Lift your hip up and slide the leg behind the leg. So you're kneeling position here. Breathe. Stand up all the way. Arm stays up straight, locked out. I send my right leg behind. Sorry, my left leg behind. Left leg behind. Drop your arm down. Keep pushing this pillow up towards the roof. slide the leg through and sit down. From there, slowly back on your elbow and lie down. Okay, since you've mastered it in one move on the right, let's go to the left. Let's see if we can function just as quickly and pick it up on the other side also. Super. From here onto the elbow, bit of a sit up. Keep driving this knee out. And then on the palms, lift the head, get to your kneeling position. From there, try and stand up. Nice and straight. So, Lisa, can you press your arms up straight if you can? And right leg goes back. The hand down. Slide through, sit down. My shoulders still working, pressing this up to the sky. Slowly lie back down. Super. Let's change the arm again. Let's do one more on each side, moving a little faster this time. Press up into a sit up. Keep pressing the arm up right. Lift your hip up. Slide through really slow. Get to your kneeling position and stand. Left leg back quickly. Drop the hand down. Slide and come back. Change and go. This time I'm not going to give any instructions. You can just keep moving. Follow me. Super. I think we have time for one more. Let's go. You're going to use the same leg as bent as the arm that's holding the object up. And once you finish this last one, let's just sit down for a stretch. Relax. Sit upright. If you have a wall at your back, that would be brilliant. If not, you can just sit down. Let's bring the feet together. Put your back against the wall and just let the groin relax here. What I love about this movement is it forces you to do things that you may or may not like without any choice. You got to do all sort of movements and challenge everything from your balance and coordination to your flexibility. So you can't pick and say, "Nahi, mujhe stretching acha nahi lagta." It's by default included in it, and you just got to get along with it without having the choice there. Okay, next bit. Let's just bend forward here. Exhale, relax the groin again, and just try and work with the lower back moving forward. And in 10 seconds, slowly come on back. Okay, come back slowly. That's it from my end. Swati, back over to you.
Thank you so much,
To
DP.
everybody.
Thanks, Coach. So,
Thank you.
Okay, that was a wonderful session. So, we had sent you a few recipes about, regarding the drinks that you have to sit with, and the recipes that we mentioned, not the other drinks. So, have you guys, any one of you, tried the preparations that were shared by us?
we didn't get that share.
Milk and turmeric. That's
Yes.
right. And पण मला एक सांग तू, you said dried ginger, पण मी I have used the
Fresh ginger पण चालेल. Dried
हाँ.
ginger is easy because we have devised the recipes keeping in mind that in case somebody is quarantined also, बाहेर पळायला नाही लागणार for fresh supplies. So most of the things are dry ingredients, keeping that in mind. But fresh ginger will always give a great flavor. Either ways.
पण just tell me, when you boil ginger in milk, sometimes the milk दूध फाटतं.
So the best idea is, you have to boil the milk and put the grated ginger in your cup and then pour the milk on
Boil
top.
it.
Don't boil it with because the ginger juice will have little bit of acid which might curdle the milk.
Yeah.
So the best thing is to, when you pour it in the cup, automatically the temperature definitely goes below 100 degrees.
Okay.
It drops from there. So it won't curdle the milk then. Dry ginger, you can comfortably put it in your milk and bring it to a boil. So coming back to what I started. So there is no better topic than nutrition when it comes to building your immunity. So me, Richa and Suvarna, we are going to conduct this small session. We have tried to make it as cheerful as possible because here we are not talking about fear, but we are talking about fighting it with the right ammunition. So our first bazooka is here. I'll just share my screen here. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So we will talk purely about nutrition in this hour. We have certain segments in the following week also where we will tackle immunity in different manners. To start off with a little bit about immunity. When we talk about immunity, we read about immunity, so much of material is getting circulated. There are certain terms that hit you all the time. The keywords that of every document that you receive or any conversation are generally immunity. So what exactly is immunity? It's basically the capacity of your body to fight against infection. That's it. These are the simple explanations of all the words that that keep coming in our conversation. Second is, what is exactly disease? This is the actual definition of disease, the state where the body is not at ease. That's why this is. Infection is basically anything that is unwanted or maybe it's a microorganism or toxin that actually targets our immune system and challenges it. Free radicals. Basically, free radicals are molecules which are produced by the body or inhaled through the environment, which actually, cause the illness or premature aging also. Free radicals are basically a response to whatever is actually bombarded in your body. So it is again, connected to the infective material. So either again, it's a virus, bacteria, or a toxin. And the last one, which we always talk about, or even when you will come across this word called antioxidants. So these are the ones which actually fight the free radicals. So these are the substances basically present in fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and which actually increase our ability to combat the infection. Now, where exactly are these antibodies, antioxidants found? How to ensure that you are taking them very easily without much effort is what we are going to talk about. But before we move on to the nutrition aspect, I want to request Richa to tell us a little more about immunity and how exactly do we try to place it in our system.
Sure, Sati.
Richa, to you.
Yeah. Thank you for those really simple, easy to understand definitions to get us started. So I'll just add on a little bit to the definition of immunity. It is not only infections, it is any foreign substance. So even when you talk about an allergic reaction, that is your body trying to protect you from that foreign substance. And in order to do that, so basically we have two types of immunity. One is innate immunity, what we are born with, and the other one is acquired immunity, which is of two main types. So I would not go into the details of innate immunity because that takes me right back to med school with all these complicated cells and systems. But we'll focus more on the acquired immunity, which is of two main types. So that is active immunity and passive immunity. Active immunity is the immunity that we acquire after getting in contact with some form of infection. So basically, when your body is exposed to an infection, it reacts, creating antibodies. And after you are finished with that infection, you recover from the infection, your body remembers the infection, it remembers the antigens. So that's why if you are exposed to it again, your immune system is prepared. So you are basically immune to it. The problem that comes with certain types of infection like with influenza and even with COVID is when the virus or the bacteria is mutating, that is where sometimes there's a little difficulty for your memory cells to remember exactly what the virus system is. So it might cause reinfection. But otherwise, with any other form of a bacterial or viral infection without mutation, you develop that immunity. So you do not have a person suffering from the same infection 3 months later or 6 months later because of this specific active immunity. Active immunity can also be generated with vaccination. So after you get vaccinated, your body basically is getting injected with a small inactivated or dead part of the infective material. Your body is fighting that infection and the antibodies are getting prepared. So it's ready in case you do get infected again. The difference between passive immunity is when the antibodies are directly introduced into your system. So basically, when you are receiving an immunoglobulin injection, or even in the term of plasma therapy, where the antibodies are getting injected directly into your system, that is when you develop passive immunity. So this is just a brief introduction to the types of immunity. Swati, next slide, please. So let's just talk about the main factors that affect your immune system. So we can start from the top and work our way clockwise. So chronic stress. As we know, stress affects almost every part of our life and including your immune system, which can get suppressed very easily in high stressful conditions. Then we have physical inactivity or excessive exercise. So this is a key point because you need to find that the midpoint for exercise, because both too much of exercise and too little of exercise can affect your immune system. So they say when you do a moderate amount of exercise, your WBCs gets activated and there's more antibody production, which is then released into your bloodstream, which is preparing you to fight an infection. Poor personal hygiene. So that will automatically make you more prone to infections, which will automatically affect your immune system and your immune health in the future. So impaired microbiota, this is basically talking about the good bacteria that are present in your system, in your gut. So basically when you are sick and you take some antibiotics, you're automatically killing off that good bacteria that are present, the lactobacillus that are present in your gastrointestinal system. So taking a probiotic in these situations is extremely essential because, or natural probiotics, as Swati will remind us about, is extremely essential in these kind of conditions. Environmental toxins. So this is again a little bit controversial because a little bit of exposure will prepare your immune system to fight the infection. So if you are living in a completely sterile, clean atmosphere, then a small infection can severely affect you. But if you are moderately affected over a long period of time, your body gets immune to that and the infection affects you less, which is basically why people say that as Indians, we are exposed to so many toxins, so our immune system is stronger. I believe all of us must have heard this, that our immunity is strong to fight infections. So this is basically what that means. Then lack of sleep again affects everything, including our immune system. It can cause a systemic inflammation, which will automatically increase your risk of infection. Substance abuse, especially drinking alcohol and smoking, can again reduce your immune function and make you more susceptible to disease. Nutrition deficiencies, which Swati will be talking about more, will also affect your system. It will affect your blood cell formation, which will automatically affect your immune system. And poor diet, which again as it affects everything in our life, it will affect your cell formation, antibody production, and fighting of infections. So that is basically the main factors that are affecting your immune system, which we need to take care of, especially in these times. So Swati, over to you.
Thank you so much, Richa. So Richa has covered almost everything that we need to take care of. Now, after all of this, I have a small crossword puzzle for you. There is a link shared in your chat box. So before we move on to the more serious discussion about the nutrients, I want you to first solve the crossword, and let's see who solves it first.
I could get only 3.
Okay, no problem. Now, while Suvarna will explain you all
But
the
6.
nutrients one after the other, we'll go on solving whatever you couldn't. Okay, Suvarna, should we start? You're on mute.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
So,
Shall we start? We are done with this. Now the puzzle.
No.
Okay,
So-
that's okay. We can.
there was this one clue about, there was this one clue about the weekly dose, which is freely available with a tan. Any
Sunlight.
answers?
I think that
Sunlight.
everybody must have
Sunlight. Sunlight.
Sunlight.
Okay, great. So, Suvarna, over to you.
Yeah,
We'll start
thank you
one
so
by
much,
one.
ma'am. Yeah, hello everyone. So today, as we are talking about immunity, so we just thought of making this presentation with a twist that we tend to talk about immunity boosting foods a lot, but we generally don't pay attention to the nutrients that actually give these foods that property. So we just thought of focusing on these major nutrients and including them in today's session. So if you want to talk about nutrients, so there are so many nutrients divided into two major groups. One is macro, which we require in larger quantities, and second is micro, which we require in smaller quantities. So if you want to talk about macro, proteins are the major sources which actually contribute in immunity boosting process. And if you want to talk about micronutrients, majority of the micronutrients, that is vitamins and minerals, contribute in immunity boosting process. So if we want, we cannot go into the details of each and every nutrient, but we have picked up 10 major nutrients which are actually important in this process. So we'll go one by one. Now the first slide, ma'am, can you just go on to the first slide? So yeah, so in this slide, we can see that there are 10 major nutrients, out of which the first line that we can see, that is E, A, K, and D. These vitamins are majorly called as antioxidant vitamins, and they are fat soluble. That means when we get this, that means the vitamins those are present in these foods require some amount of fat to get absorbed. So we'll go through the sources later, but to start with, you just have to remember that these foods are fat soluble vitamins which play as an antioxidant role. Okay. Now the in second row, the first vitamin, that is vitamin C, is the only vitamin which is water soluble. Okay, so that doesn't get stored in the body, and since that is not synthesized within the body, we need to take it on a daily basis. Okay, so the best way to have your vitamin C dose is through your foods. Now, zinc and selenium, as we know that are minerals, even the protein comes under macronutrient, which we generally take through our major food sources like dairy, non-vegetarian foods, soya, and vegetables and fruits. Now, iron becomes a very important nutrient as far as immunity is concerned, because that is the main content of the hemoglobin formation. So we'll go through one by one slide. So the first is an essential weekly dose, but freely available with a TAN. All right. So as you all guessed, it is vitamin D. Now, the issue is we know everything about vitamin D, but the problem is, do we actually go and expose ourselves to this sunlight in the morning? So I would just like to know from your side, how many of us just go in the morning sunlight and expose ourselves for at least 10 minutes? So maybe in your balcony,
No, I
in your
could not.
terrace, because we cannot go out at the moment.
I'm not regular, but yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. So have you checked your vitamin D levels recently?
Not recently, but the last when I checked, it was 22.
Okay, all right. So were you recommend आपको कोई recommendation दिया था
Yes,
vitamin
being a
supplement?
diabetic, because diabetic medicines deplete vitamin
Yeah.
D, I am
Right.
regularly on vitamin D medicine, Tio 60.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
I had done long back, but I do take that sachet once a month. I try and do.
Okay. That,
But otherwise,
that's
I go out in the sunlight as it is. Now that I am retired, I can go out.
yes. So although we say that we do get vitamin D from a few sources from food, but frankly, honestly, that content is very, very low. So sunlight is the only and only option that we have to get our vitamin dose daily. So even if we go out and expose ourselves for maybe 5 to 7 minutes, that is also sufficient to start with. Okay, so along with having vitamin D supplements, we can just do these practices daily. Okay. Why we require vitamin D basically is it is also very much important in many of the hormonal building processes. So hormone, whether it is insulin or whether it is other hormones, we do require vitamin D, and that is the reason it is extremely important on a daily basis. So the next slide that we comes is how many of you could guess this? The nut that makes you make sure that you don't go nuts.
I couldn't.
Almond.
Almond, absolutely.
Ah,
I have written almond.
okay.
Right, right. Perfect, perfect. So almond, as we said that almonds are good for what? They are good source of vitamin E, which is again a fat soluble vitamin and which is a part of immunity boosting process. Okay, so as you can see here, it's a powerful antioxidant. So antioxidant is something which will fight against the infection cells. So that is the reason we require this um, to support our immune function. Other sources, as you can see, there are other cold pressed oils. Now here I would focus on cold pressed oils because all are all other oils that are refined generally are not good sources of this particular nutrient. Okay. Now, ma'am, can we go to the next slide? So the next slide is Katrina Kaif likes it more than Ranbir or Salman.
Mango.
Perfect. Okay. So it's a very loving topping like mangoes. It is we can always be very happy to see mangoes. Plus, it gives many health benefits. As we have seen in our last session, which we conducted on mangoes, mangoes is very very good source of vitamin A. Now, vitamin A, apart from helping in immunity boosting process, it is an excellent source of mango is an excellent source of beta carotene, which is required for eye health. Okay, so basically, whether diabetics or non-diabetics, it is very much important that we take or we focus on vitamin A on a regular basis. So what are the other sources? Because mangoes are there only for the season, so we cannot have that after that. So what are the other sources? So other sources would be many of the dark green leafy vegetables. Okay, so mostly all other vegetables like spinach, um, the vegetables that we get it during winters also, sarso, or we get it chandan batwa. How many of you have used these vegetables? Bathua we
Yeah,
call it.
Chandan Batua, yeah, we do.
Chandan
Batua.
I do use.
What is charnan batwa?
That is called as bathua. Basically, it is a UP based vegetable, but we get it in Maharashtra also, but only during winters.
Yeah.
And so just like sarso, and that is a very good source of iron, very power packed iron source. So next time, whenever during winters, you can always try and ask for these vegetables because these come only during that period of time. Okay, and the other vegetables that we get it throughout the year, colocasia, that is alu, we call it in Marathi, and shepu. These are the two major green leafy vegetables which are highest, which have highest vitamin E content, vitamin A. Sorry. So you can try and include that in your meals. Apart from that, any fruit or any vegetable which is deep yellow and orange in color has excellent vitamin A content. So even papaya for that sake, red pumpkin, these are also a very good vitamin, they provide very good vitamin A source. So you can also include them in either in the form of raita that we make it, if we are talking about red pumpkin, and other papaya also you can have it as a fruit during mid meals. Now the next slide is, I think this everybody must have guessed, crop that depicts Punjab in every Bollywood movie.
Mustard, sarso.
Sarso, exactly. So basically this is leaves of that crop. So as you can see, the mustard seeds, that is sarso, is very, very deep green in color. So if you have used this vegetable, you can experience that the color and it is like the deeper the color, the high that nutrient content is. So whenever you are trying to pick up vegetables, make sure that that color is very deep. Okay, now as we say, it is high in vitamin K. Now vitamin K, why it is needed is it is extremely important for blood clotting process. Now, whenever we have cut or wounds, we see that after a few seconds of time, the wound starts healing. Like there is a blood clot, okay, on that wound side. So why that happens is because it's a body's mechanism, and that entire mechanism of blood clotting requires vitamin K. Okay, so all the green leafy vegetables again are the sources of vitamin K. Now, can we move ahead, ma'am? Uh, can we have the next slide? Sorry, ma'am. Yeah. So how about this? While you're paying by the pulp, you have to chew it and cannot gulp.
Amala? Avada?
Nine.
Guava.
Guava.
Guava, exactly. So we get it in two varieties, pink and white, and you have to keep on chewing it to get the maximum benefits of it. Okay. So as we said, vitamin C is a very, very powerful antioxidant, and during this immunity the whole pandemic, we have been learning, or we have been hearing about vitamin C tablets. Okay, Limcy or any other Selin. I'm not very sure about the word, but Limcy I'm very sure about. So we
In
keep on,
500.
yeah, Limcy, that's correct. So we keep on having these tablets for immunity boosting processes, but it's always better to have it through our foods. Okay. Now, out of all the foods that we have, aura and guava, these are the only two things, or two only fruits, I would say, which are high, which have highest vitamin C content. Okay, so even if you skip all other foods for vitamin C, you can always focus on these two whenever they are in the season. So even for aula, I would say it comes only during winters. So what you can do is you can make it different varieties with that. So you can just break it or sun dry it and have it as aula supari, or you just can cut a fresh piece of it and just have it after your meals. So that also will provide vitamins, good vitamin C content. The another thing which I would like to mention here about vitamin C is it is the basic thing required for iron absorption. So you might be having a lot of iron rich food, but if the vitamin C is not available there in your body, the iron doesn't get absorbed. And that is the reason there is a practice of squeezing lemon on everything that we have. Okay, so lemon is a very good source of vitamin C, and that helps to absorb the iron content of the food. So whenever you go for maybe pohe or anything that is high in iron content, just make sure that you add little bit of vitamin C along with it to get the maximum results of it. Okay. Mm, another important thing about vitamin C is it is very much required for collagen formation. Now, after say the age of 35, the collagen process nearly gets reduced. So it is seen in or on the skin basically. So the wrinkle part or maybe the dullness that we observe is because of the less collagen formation. So vitamin C is a very important factor to that also. So if we keep on including all these important foods throughout our daily routines, that is going to help us in the later stages. Now the next slide is this is very easy.
Anda,
Monday.
egg.
Eggs.
Eggs, perfect. So zinc is one of the major. So whatever we have mentioned here, the nutrients, zinc and magnesium. These are the two major things which are very important for the immunity boosting process. Now, deficiency of this, it requires in very small quantities. So we don't even recognize that we are having it or not. But now, since we are having this presentation, you can start observing these nutrients and making them a part of your routine. Now, it is important for hair and skin health. It is very much important for preventing anemia also. So apart from immune function, these nutrients have different functions to perform in our body. Okay, ma'am, can we have the next slide?
Just one question.
Yeah.
Most of the time, because of the other dietitians' recommendations, we end up eating only the egg white. So
Yes,
what do
yes.
we lose when we are not eating egg yellow?
Right. Yeah. So the point is that we generally say it for the people who have cholesterol problems. Okay, because the egg yolk is a good source of vitamin A, but the only problem is that it has some fat content in that. And so for the people who are maybe on weight loss or fat loss journey, who have cholesterol problems, or for that matter, who have diabetes with other complications, we generally try and suggest them to avoid egg yolk. And
Okay.
egg white purely are good sources of protein, so that you can always include.
But now there is no longer connection between egg and cholesterol, right?
Sorry.
Now, as per new research and whatever US FDA, there is no longer eggs eating is connected to cholesterol, right?
Yes, but then what happens is it is not only about egg and the yolk part. We have so many other things that we include for the cholesterol sources. Because what happens is cholesterol is basically into two forms, right? So one is that is produced within your body in the liver that we have no control over, and the other is that you have it from outside, that is from your food. Now, since you don't have any control of what happens within your body, you have to take care what you put in from the external source. So what happens is even if there is no direct relation between egg yolk consumption and cholesterol, that might be a thing on an individual basis because we don't know what's going on within the body that we have no control over. So it is better that if you have that cholesterol problem, that you try and skip that for the moment. And
No, but we don't lose on zinc. No, that is one thing that I wanted to check out specifically.
we don't lose.
That
I'm sorry, I didn't.
if we don't eat yolk, we are not losing out on the zinc which you are mentioning here.
No. And what you can actually do is, if you're having, say, about since we have only egg whites, we tend to eat around 3 to 4, right? Because
Yeah.
only one egg white is not sufficient. So in that case, what you can do is, if you're trying to have 3 eggs, that is egg whites, what you can do is you can have half egg yolk and other egg whites. So that you have the combination of both.
Okay.
Okay. And if at all your diet is very good in fiber, otherwise your cholesterol is automatically been taken care of. So you don't have to worry on that part.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a doubt in terms of consumption of egg. Is it better to have boiled eggs or an omelette?
Yeah. So when we are in a healthy normal population, boiled egg is also good. Otherwise, you can have it in the omelette form also. The only thing with that we suggest to avoid is maybe fried, in the fried form, that you have other forms of egg that you where you need to fry the eggs, right? French toast, or
Right.
maybe other things that come under that section. So that we tend to we in fact recommend to avoid it. Otherwise, boiled eggs or other forms of eggs are perfectly all right.
Okay. Thank you.
So ma'am, yeah. So the
Sesame.
next, sorry,
Sesame.
yeah, sesame seeds, right? Till seeds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So till seeds are basically, as we all know, that they are very high in calcium. But apart from that, they are required in your for your brain health also. So that is the reason we always say that apart from just focusing on other nuts and seeds, sesame seeds should be included at least alternate days, maybe at least 1 teaspoon. So you can always mix flax seeds and sesame seeds, make it up into a powder form and have it 1 teaspoon alternate days along with your meals also. Or even if you have it daily, that is also okay. Right? And this is apart from actually what you say, I'm so sorry. Apart from calcium, that is basically we have included here for selenium. So selenium is also micronutrient which is required in very less quantity, but is a very powerful antioxidant. So this can be included. And the second last, oh no, I would say third last. Can we just quickly go through it, because I think we are running out.
Chickpea.
Yeah, so famous in Punjabi and
Chole,
cuisine.
chole.
Chole, perfect. So how many of you like chole?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Love
Yes.
it.
And how frequently do you have?
Today is hummus day.
I was about to come to that point. Hummus is one of the very nutritious recipes that we have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So as we all know, it's a very good protein source, vegetarian protein source I would focus on. And it prevents anemia. It is very important for RBC production. So in total, related to iron content, it is very important. And apart from chole, you can also add tofu, milk, soya, paneer for the protein source. Okay. So the next is most important part of misal,
Matki.
Ussar,
which is very
Matki.
yeah, right. So as we said, iron. This is we have included for iron. This the one of the major functions of this particular iron is RBC production. Okay, and it is also required for the action of immune system activation. Now, suppose some infection has entered your body, so your body has to know that there is some foreign particle entering your body and it needs to get activated. So for that, iron is very, very important, and that is the reason iron becomes a essential part of our immune system process. So apart from matki, we have other sources like black currants and these. So we generally tend to soak black currants and have it in the morning. That is the usual practice that we follow, which is very, very good practice, and we can always continue following that. And the next one, last one is this completes a brownie and is also part of face scrub.
walnut.
Walnut.
Perfect. Perfect. So as the even the shape suggests, it is a very good for our brain functions. And it actually, out of all nuts, walnut has gained a very popularity in this recent times because of its health benefits. So you can just see here, there are so many health benefits of this nut alone, and it is involved in around 100 plus body functions that are performed on a daily basis. So we don't even get to know what's actually happening within our body, and that is the reason we say that it's a miracle by the nature. But if we tend to anytime we feel like just going within our body and thinking about these functions, so these are the basic nutrients that play a major role. in any sort of, apart from immunity boosting process also, there are so many, maybe 200 plus functions that require micronutrients on a daily basis. But even if we have seen all these nutrients differently, but is it possible for us to, you know, pick up one nutrient and have it individually? What do you think so? Is it possible? So if I say that I want to have vitamin A today, so I just go and pick up one source of vitamin and have it. Then I'll pick up zinc and have it. Is that possible?
No.
No, it is not possible. And that is the reason why we suggest is to have it a complete whole food. And for the convenience, we have divided into colors. So you can just, this is for your reference. So all these colorful fruits and vegetables, or rather whole foods, will provide you with all these vitamins and minerals. Those are required for immunity. And it is not about a short-term immunity, as Richa rightly mentioned. It is about the long-term immunity that we are focusing on. So even if this pandemic gets over, we have to be we have to be prepared for other, you know, such conditions. And that is the building our immunity is the only way that we have in our hands. So if you want to build it through natural ways, um, focusing on your exercise, your nutrition, your sleep, and your stress levels, these are the only things we have to follow. So I'm done with from my end. Any questions?
So on that magnesium slide,
Mm-hmm.
so they say calcium is best absorbed if you have enough magnesium in your body. So what's your thought, or can you throw some light on it?
Yes. So it is like, it not only magnesium, but it is all interconnected. So even if we say that we require magnesium for calcium, we have to be, we should be having complete, what you say, nutrition aspect to it. Because even if the whole thing boils down to your digestion, basically, to if you want to know into details, because what happens is, even if I'm having everything in a proper manner, every nutrient in a perfect quantity, but my digestion is not proper, it is not going to get digested and it is not going to get absorbed. So even if we say that we want to have this along with this, the first point is our digestion clear? And after that, yes, we do require calcium and magnesium in a proper quantity. So what we can do is, now since you have these guidelines with you, you can just mix and match the nutrients, and you can come up with different recipes which are actually very simple to prepare and can be used in a daily routine. So just give me a second to give you an example. Have you, like, since now you know the combinations, can you just let me know one of the recipes which you can think of?
Absolutely.
Caesar salad.
Yeah, I mean, no. If you take from each and every this thing, so red is bell pepper, cabbage, cucumber, corn, and maybe orange or apricots or carrots. It becomes a very good salad, like kind of.
Yeah.
So from
Perfect,
all the
perfect.
yeah.
Right. And if you want, if you're saying that you want magnesium and calcium, because this was your question, that you require magnesium for calcium, right? So if you want to just make a combination of calcium and magnesium sources, so can you find out a recipe, or maybe a combination thing? So here we have given walnut, and in case of
Pumpkin
calcium also,
seed.
we have sesame.
Pumpkin seed. So if you're having, pumpkin seed, milk, dahi,
Yeah.
oats.
So you just, yeah, so what you can do is, you can just quickly combine sesame seeds for calcium and walnuts for magnesium, right? And just make it a nut ball kind of a thing and have it. So that will take care of the both the ingredients, nutrients rather. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah, pleasure.
Any more questions?
So regarding vitamin C, you said it's not a fat soluble vitamin, right?
So, for example, like Limsi, do we need to have it with food or not necessarily? I'm not able to hear you properly.
You're not able to.
Can you hear
Yes.
me now? Yeah. Okay. So I'll just repeat the question. So vitamin C, regarding vitamin C, you said it is not a fat soluble vitamin, right? Yeah. So for example, Lim C vitamin, do we need to have it with food or it's not necessary to have it with food? With with food, like with ghee or
See,
something, do we need to have that?
So, I would suggest that any supplements that you take, except multivitamins, okay, it should be taken separately between your meals. So that is the ideal way of having it. And since it's a water soluble vitamin, it will not get stored in your body, unlike vitamin A, D, E, K. So when you are taking supplements for fat soluble vitamins, you need to be very careful because excess dose can cause toxicity. Okay, but that is not the case with water soluble vitamins, which are B complex vitamins and vitamin C. So vitamin C, you can take it either with food or between meals also. That is not an issue.
Okay, and vitamin D we need to take with ghee, right? Usually they say take it with ghee.
Vitamin B.
D for Denmark.
Vitamin D, yes. Any vitamin that is fat soluble, A, D, E, K, we need to have a good source of fat along with that to get it absorbed. So even if you are having, say, a papaya, a bowl of papaya, where it is high in vitamin A, I would suggest you to sprinkle maybe a teaspoon of flax seeds, or maybe have 2 walnuts with it, so that essential maybe good fat from these foods will help that vitamin A to get absorbed. So that is how we make different combinations. Even in case of iron also, you require vitamin C to get it absorbed. So as I mentioned in the last slide, the combinations can be done on like in a simpler ways.
So is this a reason, maybe, many French, they eat fruits with cheese or fruit with nuts and cheese? I'm just...
Exactly.
Yes.
Most of the combinations, if you see, are in combination. Either there is a dressing which is oil based, so all the vegetables or the salads. I mean, there is a very good scientific backing where it shows all the dressings are always oil based, some form of oil. If there are vinaigrette based dressings, you will find seeds in it, cheese in it, dry fruits in it.
Even our Koshimbir, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, Koshimbir is a classic example
right.
of all these. Yeah.
Yes.
So we have groundnut powder in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And
Crushed
then the
groundnuts
fodni.
are always
Yeah.
there, and a little bit of fodni on top.
Yeah.
And the fodni is always with mustard, which is again a source of oil.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you look at the band, if we keep this band in mind, whether it is a continental meal or a Thai meal or even a regular Maharashtrian or an Indian meal, you can easily combine all the colors to fix a meal and ensure that you are getting your daily dose of antioxidants very, very easily. I mean, we unknowingly we are doing it also. You can just tally everything. We are perfectly ticking all the boxes.
Yes, actually true.
Any more questions? So, how many of you, let us, as we we are towards the end of the session. So, how many of you did the maximum number of this thing? Maximum number of clues?
6.
I did
I
4.
did 6.
I did 5.
Okay, great.
4.
Any more numbers than 6? So Priya comes to, I think, is a winner then. Maximum number of clues solved.
No, vitamin C, since it's very important. So there are a lot of videos going on around, the lemon, the nimbu pani and all is not enough. So, and since it is not stored in the body and it is washed out, which means like if you have 1 glass of nimbu pani in the morning, you need to have kind of like divide it into 3, 4 or 4, 5 classes, but they are saying that supplements are better off than having citrus fruits or lemon, which is the best source. So, or amla. So, so what is recommended in, I'm talking from the Corona times.
Yeah. Okay. So when we talk about lemon or any citrus fruit, what happens is when we first cut it, okay, the first, I think, 20 to 25% of vitamin C is lost. Okay, because it is also heat sensitive, and it is very volatile basically. So it gets lost when you cut it. So even if you are squeezing that lemon in your glass of water, um, maybe around 40 to 50% vitamin C is already lost. So what you get is remaining vitamin C, which is probably not enough for you during the day. So the ideal way of doing it is you can have your lemon water, and you can also start including other vitamin C sources, like as we mentioned in the slide also. So if it is guava time, you must have guavas at least maybe alternate days. Okay. So during that winter period or during that season, you are getting enough of that particular vitamin, and you are good to go. So basically what happens is, if you're getting daily dose of vitamin C through different things, even if you're getting your vitamin C in the morning session through your lemon water, next probably in the evening session you add one citrus fruit. Okay. Or maybe during winters, by cutting amla, even if you have this small portion of amla after your meals, you get enough of vitamin C because it has concentrated source. So dividing your vitamin C throughout the day is a good practice, but at times it happens that that vitamin C may not be sufficient in some cases. So in that case, supplementation can be definitely an option. And since it is, as I said, it's not a fat soluble vitamin, it will not get stored basically. So the health ill effects are not there as such after
आवळा
supplementation.
शिजवल्याने त्यातलं सी विटामिन जातं का?
It's
Correct.
soluble.
And it is very unstable. So, it is also
Unstable.
recommended. Generally, vitamin C is connected with citrus fruits, and then, having juices. So, juicing actually makes sure that 99% of the vitamin C is already lost in the whole juicing process. So, see, nature is protecting it with two layers because it is heat sensitive and it is light sensitive also. So always ensure that you get your daily dose of vitamin C by cutting or peeling the fruit and eating it right away. If it comes, when it comes to oranges in particular, now we are still getting Nagpur oranges. So if you look at it, you just have to basically remove the rind and try and have it even with the white skin, the semi-transparent skin inside. Maybe there is always a technique to de-seed it even within your mouth, or like my daughter does it. She does an X-ray. What she does is she just holds it against light. So many a times there half of the the veggies don't have a seed at all. Same goes for addition of fruits to your salad also. The fruit should be cut and added to the fruit just before service. So the dressing and all, whatever oozing out of the fluids happen, you can minimize that time. And bolder chunks is always better when you're adding it to the salad, so that the surface area is then reduced, and that the loss of vitamin C is also then controlled. And juicing is completely, cold press juicing, everything, you will get all the other nutrients other than vitamin C. And vitamin C again is connected with sour or tangy fruits. It is not so. Even green chilies are a very good source of vitamin C. If you are going to sprout moong or matki and have it just like that, it is again a good source of vitamin C. So coriander is a good source of vitamin C.
Even bell
mango,
pepper.
even all exactly bell pepper. And if you are eating any fruit, so if you see amla and guava, they rule the whole the territory of vitamin C. But all of these also do contribute. But as far as the supplementation is concerned, I personally feel that if you are in close proximity of a COVID patient, or there is if you're a primary caregiver also, I would say just apart from the food, start your supplementation.
But there is no need to start in anticipation that the
No,
COVID
not
is
in
right at the door.
anticipation. Not in anticipation. If you're a caregiver or you come in contact, if you've quarantined yourself for any reason, then vitamin C has to be taken in the form of food sources as well as supplementation, both. More to do with prevention.
Thank you.
Any more questions? I think
Any
we've
more
had-
from anyone?
Oh, it
Great,
was
thank
a
you.
very good session.
Yeah,
Good
this was
session.
really
Yes.
interesting.
Wonderful
Swati.
session. Really
Yes.
wonderful session.
Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much,
you.
everyone, for coming and joining. And thank you so much, Swati and Suvarna.
Share the
Thank you.
presentation, Swati.
Sorry?
Can you share this presentation? We'll do that, sir.
Yes, yes, it
Yes.
will
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
It will be
we'll do that.
definitely.
Yes.
And please, if possible, take a printout of the color bands and put it on your fridge.
I've
It's an
already
easy
sent the
reference
color band.
from-
I'll share the PPT soon.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you much. Bye.